Welcome back to the channel. Today on Kavanaugh's Corner, we're going to be checking out a brand new 4K UHD Steelbook. So we got a brand new 4K Blu-ray here. This is a movie that I saw, I want to say probably about 10 years ago or so, maybe slightly more than that. And this is actually a movie that I discovered on a streaming service, which is really ironic to me because I'm like the most anti-streaming service guy that you'll ever meet. But this was a movie that I saw, I think it was on Netflix, and when I saw this film, I was blown away by it. And I went out and I think I actually rented this movie from Redbox just to watch it again because it went off Netflix. And I just could not believe my eyes of how fantastic this movie was. Then I found out it had a very, very small budget, had a director that really came out of nowhere to make this thing, and I was just very impressed. And that movie is, of course, The Raid Redemption. Now, this is the all-new 4K Blu-ray here. So The Raid Redemption here, unlike a lot of the other Steelbooks that have come out before from Sony, where it's like a re-release, this is the first time this is on 4K, as far as I could see, or at least in the United States it is. This has got an all-new 4K transfer, new color grading. And actually, the new transfer may have actually been supervised by Gareth Evans from what I've seen. And it's got Dolby Vision, HDR, HDR10, Dolby Atmos audio for the first time. Really excited to talk about the picture quality, the audio quality, the special features, and just the overall packaging here and whether or not it's worth it for you guys to pick up. So first and foremost, let's just talk about the packaging here. As I mentioned, this is a Steelbook. I'm going to take the slip cover off here. This new Steelbook is really nice. I love these matte finishes. The matte finish on this is really nice. It has this debossed title here and the main character's kind of outline. On the back, it's got a pretty brutal picture there, and then we open it up and you can see there's actually an image of the fight near the end of the film, which is really an amazing sequence. It's got the 4K and the standard Blu-ray on top there, so really nice. It gets a big passing grade for me in terms of the packaging. Really like this. This is really well done in terms of packaging. Now, for the picture quality, let's jump right into the picture quality. This, as I mentioned, does have an all-new Dolby Vision HDR transfer, a 4K digital intermediate, the works. Watching this after remembering that stream of this movie that I watched many years ago, in my head, I hadn't seen this on disc in quite a while, because this is actually a movie that I never went out and bought for whatever reason. It just kind of slipped away from me. It happens every now and then. But this new picture on here, the new transfer of The Raid, is unbelievable. This new transfer is so vastly different from its previous transfer that it's hard to even do a comparison. Thankfully, the Blu-ray disc that's included in this is that old Blu-ray from like 12 years ago. And that transfer compared to the new one is really bad. It's actually kind of shockingly bad. Maybe at the time it was okay, but now watching it, it is like two completely different movies. The new color grading, the new Dolby Vision color grading of the film is just so much more lifelike. Skin tones are better. Colors are much more notable. It's not nearly as muted as it used to be. There's just so much more life to the picture. The detail quality on this is unbelievable. The detail level is through the roof. I mean, you can see individual splinters of wood as the SWAT team in the film is being shot at. There's one very memorable scene where a character is putting a machete through a wall, and the main character of the film is hiding in this crawl space. and the machete is coming through, and there's one close-up where you can actually see individual pieces of the broken wood in this little hole as the machete comes through, and it is just unbelievably vivid and lifelike. It's not overly vivid. It's not to the point where the colors are all blown out and everything. There is still a muted quality to it, but it's not nearly as drained of color as the previous transfer was. It is now also extraordinarily darker. And that is the one caveat of the new transfer that I want to talk about, because it is probably about 10 times darker than it was in the previous releases. It is extremely noticeable. Now, the one thing I'll have to say is if you have a TV that can handle the black levels, then you're fine. You're totally fine. You really want to make sure that if you're going to pick this up, you have a TV that can handle black levels well. Because if not, you are going to get an immense amount of black crush, and I can already see people talking about this. My TV can handle it really well. I have a Hisense U8H that has been calibrated to the nth degree, and the black levels in this movie are extraordinarily deep and accurate, but you got to make sure that you're ready for that, because if you've seen this movie before, you probably are not going to be prepared for the change that you're going to see going from, the old disc to the new one. It is a stark differential, but it looks really, really good. The film grain has been preserved. There is, it's not extremely noticeable, but it is there. And I'm glad they didn't just wholesale DNR the whole movie. There is really no noticeable digital noise reduction that I could see. Facial details are intact. Clothing detail is, again, unbelievable. You can really see things now that I never noticed before. Little cuts and scrapes on characters' faces. Gunshot wounds are really nasty looking. There is some really brutal moments of violence in this. And I have to say, the unrated cut that is included on the 4K disc, it is the full director's cut of the film. It is very nasty, very brutal. But those fight scenes, now that you can see every little bit of detail, just really jump out at you, and they are shockingly incredible to look at. Hats off to Sony for doing an amazing transfer of this. Absolutely love that new 4K transfer. Far and away the best looking version of this film that you can ever see. The changes, again, are extremely drastic, but it is a better looking film, and it's definitely closer to the director's vision than that previous release was. It's unreal, absolutely unreal. So high marks for that 4K transfer on the 4K disc. Now, as I mentioned, there is also an all-new Dolby Atmos track on this disc as well. And that Dolby Atmos track is actually available in two different ways. So the Dolby Atmos is in Indonesian, and that is the spoken language of the film, Indonesian and Bahasa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but those are the two languages spoken in the film. And I highly recommend that you watch it in its original language. In my opinion, it's definitely a better film that way. Both discs do include a English dub as well. The English dub is only available in a 5.1, while as the original language is in that Dolby Atmos. The Dolby Atmos is incredible on this disc. The sound effects are booming. You can feel every punch landed, every machete swung, every shot fired. It is such an enveloping audio track. Is it better than the 5.1? I'd say it's much more immersive than the 5.1 is. The overheads are used really well. There is a lot of running in the film, people running in upper floors and things happening above you. They are used really, really well in this. and the audio as a whole, dialogue is very crystal clear. The music sounds amazing, and that's actually something else I want to talk about now, because there are technically two audio tracks on this disc that are in Dolby Atmos. One is the original language with the Linkin Park soundtrack, as I like to call it. It's done by Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park, and that is actually the version that I watched, because that's the one that I'm kind of used to. But there's also the original audio track that has the original like Indonesian music in it. And again, if you are an international viewer, you may have seen that version and not the one that I'm used to here in the States. But no matter which way you go, the music sounds incredible. I watched a little bit of the movie with the original music in there, and it sounded really good. But for some reason, that other audio track, I think, just works better for the movie. I think it's just, I don't know, it just gets the blood pumping better, especially in those action sequences. I feel like that music is more appropriate, but either way you go, it's going to sound amazing. And like I said, there are the English dubs as well. There is also a Spanish 5.1 and an Indonesian Bahasa 5.1 as well. So there's a bunch of different audio tracks. And the movie does automatically play in that Linkin Park soundtrack with the original Indonesian language with English subtitles. And the subtitles are not obtrusive at all, in my opinion. They kept it at a very good kind of medium but legible size. So I really appreciate that, because I'm blind as a bat without these glasses, that is. Very nearsighted. So the fact that, you know, they're legible and they don't really get in the way of the film at all, I really like that. So sometimes they make these subtitles massive or whatever. They're not like that on this. They did a really good job with that. So another huge thumbs up for the audio tracks on this disc. Again, the 4K disc. Just an incredible disc overall. The secondary disc, as I mentioned earlier, is pretty much the exact same release. It may actually be the exact same Blu-ray that came out like 12 years ago now. That disc has a full-length commentary by Gareth Evans, behind-the-scene video blogs with the cast and crew, talking about the score of the film. There's even a little interview with director Gareth Evans and Mike Shinoda, so that's really cool to see. There is a whole other video with Gareth Evans, Mike Shinoda, and Joe Trapanese, who is the other person who worked on the soundtrack with Mike Shinoda. There is Anatomy of a Scene featurette with Gareth Evans, which is really fascinating to see. There's just a ton of stuff. There is just an absolute, just metric ton of special features on that Blu-ray. It also comes with a digital copy that does give you the two different versions of the film. So the R-rated and the unrated cut are both in that digital copy. Again, this gets very high marks from me. So very exciting. This is a really great start to 2024. Very excited to see what goes on here. And again, a big thanks to Sony Home Entertainment for sending this out to me. I very much appreciate it. Sony does send me things from time to time. I love it when they do that. It really means a lot to me. And just because they are sending this to me, that does not have any impact on my opinion of the disc. I tell it like it is. This just happens to be another one of theirs that I really, really like. Sony, most of the time, hits it out of the park with their 4Ks, and this was no different. If you want to pick up the Raid in 4K on this awesome, really cool Steelbook, I'll leave a link in the description below to Amazon. If you use that link, then I get a little kickback here on the channel. It helps us out because not all movies that I get on the channel are sent to me like the Raid was. So this is a big, big must-buy from me, honestly. If I didn't get this sent to me, I probably would have bought it anyway. If you like this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel below. Our channel is really growing fast here, and if you're big into physical media, I tend to do a review at least once a week. So there's always new releases coming out. I'm always picking up something or somebody sending me something. So definitely stay tuned to the channel and make sure you're getting notified when I get my next video out. So until next time, just want to wish you all the very best. Please stay safe and take it easy.